It is winter again, the kind that sneaks into the bones and makes the whole world look washed out. I should be used to the cold by now. I was raised in Michigan, after all. But today, the cold feels different, more personal, almost like it is sitting beside me, studying my face closely, the way Charles used to. Funny how a heart can feel both frozen and burning at the same time. Charles and I broke up 3 days ago, and even though I keep telling myself that writing will help, I know I am lying. Nothing feels like it helps. But writing is something I can control, and when love slips through your fingers, you grab whatever pieces of yourself are left. I keep replaying everything that happened. Every word, every assumption, every silence, every misunderstanding that I let grow like weeds. I keep hearing one phrase in my head. The danger of a single story. It is something my English professor used to say. She said people destroy relationships when they hold on to just one version of someone, one mistake, one rumor, one fear, one expectation, and refuse to see the rest. Back then, I didn't pay much attention. Now, that idea is all I can think about. Because I held on to a single story about Charles, and in doing so, I destroyed us. And maybe, I destroyed him too. Charles and I met at a small cafe near the university. I was behind on my assignments, tired, and frustrated because the world felt overwhelming. He just happened to sit next to me because all the other tables were full. He smiled at me, a soft smile, a polite smile, a smile that did not try to enter my life, just acknowledged that I existed. Rough day, he asked. I don't know why, but I nodded. And that was it, a tiny gesture, a tiny moment. But looking back, I think that was the day life changed its path for me. Charles was quiet and observant. He chose his words carefully, like someone who valued the weight of each sentence. His presence felt like the warm steam from a cup of tea, gentle, settling, and comforting. I remember thinking, how can a stranger feel like a blanket? Soon we became friends, then friends who flirted, then something more, and for a while, it was beautiful. I realize now that I loved Charles in a way that felt both safe and frightening. Safe because he was kind. Frightening because he was real. He wasn't loud about his love. He didn't post about us on social media or make big romantic gestures. But he always remembered my favorite brand of tea. He picked up my prescriptions when I was too anxious to leave the house. He held my hand when my mother yelled at me over the phone. And sometimes, in the quiet moments, he would press his forehead to mine. That was my favorite kind of embrace, the soft one that didn't ask for anything, that didn't demand anything, but simply existed. The power of embrace, I learned, is that it says what words never can. But love, even soft love, needs truth. And truth requires trust. And trust requires seeing more than one story. Which I failed to do. Charles had secrets, not dangerous ones, just pieces of himself he didn't offer easily. He had grown up moving from place to place, Atlanta, Chicago, St. Louis, Phoenix, his mother chasing jobs, his father gone before he learned to walk. He told me once, I learned not to unpack completely. Life always moves you eventually. I didn't understand he meant emotionally too. Because every time I tried to get closer, really close, he would tense. Not dramatically, just enough for me to notice. And instead of asking him why, instead of listening, instead of seeing him as a whole person, I built a story in my mind. A story that said, he must be pulling away because he doesn't love me enough. It was easier to believe that than to sit in uncertainty. Easier than vulnerability. Easier than asking. A single story is comforting sometimes. It gives the illusion of clarity. Even when it is wrong. I still remember the night everything cracked. We were at my apartment, making pasta. Charles was chopping onions, and I was grating parmesan, humming a little because I felt safe with him. He paused and said, Maggie, can I tell you something? I don't know why, but fear crawled up my spine. Maybe because his voice was too calm. Maybe because I could feel something shifting. Sure, I said. He wiped his hands on a towel. He didn't look at me when he spoke. My ex texted me today. A bomb. Dropped casually, softly, quietly. I didn't breathe. What did she want? I asked, my voice sharp. She wanted to apologize. She's going through therapy now. She said she finally understands how she hurt people back then. I didn't respond, but I didn't hear anything after the word ex. The single story started forming instantly. He wants her back. That's why he's distant lately. That's why he's quiet. That's why he didn't say, "I love you," last night. He's comparing me to her. He's leaving. Charles kept talking, gently, honestly. But all I heard was the story my fear was writing. If love is a mirror, fear is a broken one. I started searching for evidence of betrayal where none existed. Every late reply, every distracted look, every sigh, I interpreted it as confirmation of my story. And the worst part, I stopped embracing him, stopped reaching for his hand, stopped offering softness, stopped letting him in. Love needs oxygen, and I suffocated ours with insecurity. Months of tenderness, erased by 1 week of assumptions. Tonight was the night of the breakup. It feels unreal to even write that sentence. Charles came over after work. He looked tired. His eyes, usually so gentle, looked dim. We sat on opposite sides of the couch, and the distance felt like miles. He asked, "Maggie, what's going on with you?" I wanted to scream the truth. "I'm scared. I'm scared you'll leave me. I'm scared I'm not enough. I'm scared because I love you too much." But instead I said, "Why don't you tell me?" He sighed. "I feel like you're angry at me for something I didn't do." And then, like a fool, I said, "You're still in love with her." His face fell, not in shock, not in anger, but in sadness so heavy it felt like the room sank. "Maggie," he whispered, "I am not in love with her." "I don't believe you," I snapped. He closed his eyes, slowly, painfully, the way someone shuts a door after realizing the hinges have already broken. And then he said something I will hear for the rest of my life. "You're not fighting me, Margaret. You're fighting the story you created about me. And I don't know how to win against a story." I didn't reply, couldn't. My throat was ice. He stood up, grabbed his coat, and said softly, "I love you, but I can't stay somewhere I'm always on trial." The door closed behind him. I didn't stop him. I didn't chase him. I let the love of my life walk out because I trusted my fear more than I trusted him. It's been a week since we broke up. I haven't eaten properly. I sleep in bursts. Everything around me feels dimmer. I keep replaying the last moment, how quiet the apartment became after he left. The kind of quiet that feels like punishment. My friends say, "You'll get over it. This happens." But they don't understand. It wasn't heartbreak that destroyed us. It was a story I wrote in my head. A story where Charles was the villain. A story where I was the victim. A story with no truth, just fear. Fear is a dangerous author. Valentine's Day. It's snowing again. I walked past the cafe where we met. The same small wooden tables. The same smell of freshly ground coffee. I almost went inside, almost reached for the doorknob. But memories are heavy. I sat on a bench outside, watching couples walk by, hands intertwined, cheeks flushed by the cold, laughter visible in the air. And I realized something painful. Love is not just a feeling. It is a responsibility. And I failed at that responsibility. Charles gave me patience. I gave him assumptions. He gave me honesty. I gave him doubt. He gave me a chance. I gave him a story. Today I found one of his old hoodies at the back of my closet. Navy blue, soft fabric, faint scent of cedar and laundry detergent. I held it for a long time. And for the first time since the breakup, I cried in a way that felt cleansing instead of destructive. Because I finally understood what I lost. Not just a boyfriend, but a safe place, a partner, a gentle soul who loved quietly but deeply. A man who asked for nothing except to be seen fully. And I only saw him through the small window of my insecurity. A single story, a narrow lens, a love wasted by fear. I sent Charles a message today. Not to get him back. Not to reopen wounds. Just to acknowledge the truth. I wrote, "I'm sorry for letting fear write your character. I'm sorry for believing only one story about you. I hope life gives you the embrace I failed to offer." He hasn't replied, and that's okay. Sometimes healing means accepting the silence that comes after truth. I think I'm finally learning something valuable. The danger of a single story is not just that it is incomplete. The danger is that it replaces reality entirely. It blinds you. It deafens you. It tricks you into destroying what is good. What is tender? What is real? Love, true love, requires seeing a person in all versions of themselves. Their flaws, their scars, their past, their fears, their hopes, their quiet days, their loud ones, their shadows and their light. Charles saw all of me. But I saw only the parts of him that matched my fears. That was my failure, my sacrifice, my pain, my lesson. It has been 3 months since the breakup. And though the pain is still there, sharp some days, dull on others, I am beginning to understand something important. Love does not disappear. It changes shape. It becomes a memory, a lesson, a quiet companion. I think I will always love Charles. Not in a way that asks for him back. Not in a way that clings. But in a way that wishes him joy, peace, warm light, a love that is soft enough to let go. Maybe that is the final form of love. The kind that releases instead of holds. The snow has melted. Tulips are starting to bloom outside my apartment. I walked to the park today, and the fresh air felt like forgiveness. I think about Charles less now. Not because he meant little, but because the pain has softened into understanding. He taught me something without meaning to. Never let a single story destroy a person you love. Never let fear become the narrator. Never let assumptions replace conversations. I once thought our breakup was tragic. But now I understand it is bittersweet. Tragic because we lost each other. Sweet because I found a deeper truth inside myself. And maybe one day, when love finds me again, I will be ready to see someone fully, without fear, without assumptions, without narrow stories. I will remember the power of embrace. The kind Charles once gave me. The kind I hope to give someone else. For now, I close this diary with a heart still healing. But no longer breaking.